is Joel, and this is my Game Cultures Assignment 2 presentation. So for my presentation, my project topic is about blindfold speedrunning and can it improve game accessibility for visually impaired players. The main questions I'm going to be following for blindfold speedrunning, so what is it and how do they play these games? What does it mean to be visually impaired, and what accessibility is there for games today, and whether there are any strategies or techniques that blindfold speedrunners use that could help in the further development of accessibility in these games. So the research methods I used were interviewing people with visual impairment to find out what struggles they face and how they deal with them, passive observations through pre-recorded streams and YouTube videos to get information and better build on my knowledge for this topic, as well as system analysis through speedrunning communities, blog post topics, and academic articles. This obviously, as I said before, helps to understand better how they play these games without these visuals and get a kind of an idea of more of the transferable skills that could be used. So for blindfold speedrunning is when players attempt to complete a video game or reach a specific goal as quickly as possible while wearing blindfolds, so they cannot see. Instead, they use a myriad of other techniques, which I'll go over later. And visual impairment is defined as a limitation of one or more functions of the eye or visual system, can range from mild vision impairment to total blindness and cannot be corrected through normal prescription lenses or surgery. So some of the blindfold strategies I had were strategizing and memorization, normalization, semi-normalized movements, sound cues, and counting. I don't have time to go over all of these, but main one is normalization, which is movements that have the same action every time with the same result. It helps players to better navigate around the map and locate themselves. And sound and music cues, which are sound cues are just noises that happen in-game, and music cues is the music that happens in games, and players use specific noises to react to certain cycles and things. Like Super Mario, when a thump slams down, if you're trying to jump on top of it, you'll know once it slams down that you can then jump on top even without being able to see it. So I had beat counting, pseudo beat counting, input pause buffering, echolocation, and camera management. So for the most important one out of these probably is camera management and beat counting. So camera management is where they mainly have the camera in two different modes, dynamic or static, where dynamic it follows the player and auto adjusts, and static usually keeps the camera in a fixed location behind you, which makes it a lot easier when you can't see the screen, knowing where the camera is, because it can affect your movements and whereabouts. Now on the other side, accessibility strategies today that we have are providing things like individual sliders in games, separate music controls, mono or stereo toggles, bilingual recordings. They have provided audio track description, even a GPS or a voice GPS to help characters navigate around. And they provide pingable sonars. An example of this is in Last of Us 2. They have a pingable sonar for the character shown on the left, and things like text-to-speech, ledge detection, and a high contrast mode, which is shown on the right, which helps a lot with people with visual impairments, highlighting what the interactable objects are, the enemies, and the players. So blindfold strategies to help accessibility they come up with. So games already have music and audio cues, but maybe enhancing them further to help with the visually impaired, being able to increase like the noise of them or having more interactable objects that make noise, customizable soundscapes. So one of the things is some games don't have a very good background music for some of the strategies, like counting. And so we're having games with maybe use your own music as the background music to help them provide like a more sound that they know the beat to more, or able to keep in touch with more to help locate themselves. Vibration and haptic feedback, which is basically like control of vibration, and maybe have more of that in certain player interactions or with objects with the environment, and kind of better streamlined controls, so more games with text-to-speech, less complicated button mapping, and like things like the talkable GPS to help characters locate when they can't see. So the challenges in this comparison is that not all the games sadly have the budgeting or the forethought with good enough sound design in games for it to be played by people who are visually impaired. So in general, the audience of games is composed of people without disabilities, thus persons with disabilities find it hard to play or are unable to play in some games. So speedrunners choose to go blind as well is another thing. So some of the strategies like memorization cannot be done nearly as well for people with visual impairments as they involve writing scripts and memorizing beforehand, which cannot be done. Sadly, not all the knowledge is also known for game devs or by game devs when making games. So these days it becomes increasingly more prevalent to add such features in game, which is a good thing for Sims to come. So in conclusion, yes, blindfolded speedrunning does show many useful techniques, and hopefully developers can learn from these strategies and make games more accessible, and more collaboration between players and devs or people with the accessibility or visually impaired community could help to make these games better for everyone.